Episode 7 of Dandadan is not a masterpiece, and people are completely overreacting to this anime and this episode. Specifically, the episode, not so much the anime, but the episode. Because, mind you, for weeks now, and I mean weeks, I've been reading people saying that this episode was going to be a tearjerker, get ready to cry, get ready to be moved. And it was building up to be this emotional thing. Now, I've been watching anime for years, and I know that there are some very, very dark episodes in anime. There's some very emotional episodes. I mean, I'm a huge One Piece fan. There's tons of moments in One Piece that I can think about, like Chopper, Nami's backstory, Sanji's backstory, or another anime like Naruto, Jiraiya, the third. Sad moments in anime is nothing new. So I was expecting it because also it seems like the storytelling nowadays is getting more graphic, dark, more realistic. I was fully expecting to be floored because let me say, if I haven't already said, I'm loving Dandadan. I'm coming into the anime completely new. I've never read the manga. I've seen it in the corner because I read Shonen Jump, but I've never read the anime, so I had no idea. And I am loving the series. I'm loving season 1. I love the characters. I love the dynamic. I loved each episode that's come out thus far, even the one that people thought was a little bit of a letdown. I'm like, hey, it's okay. It was good for character building and the relationship between Okarun and Momo. But this episode wasn't it. And I'm not saying that the episode was bad, although I do have some critiques for how the writer or the mangaka handled the story or handled the episode or handled the material. It just wasn't perfect. That's too harsh. It just wasn't nearly as good as everyone said it was going to be and as everyone is saying it was. Okay? If you didn't, so I'm going to go through it little by little and break down why I feel it was not a masterpiece, why I didn't come anywhere near close to crying, and I cry all the time in anime. Not ashamed to say it, not ashamed of it, but this episode 7 of Dandadan, did not get me there. And here are some of the reasons why. So it picks up where the last episode 6, left off, and Okarun and Momo are trying to protect Arya. And they both have gotten spit out by the lady in red, and it turns out that Arya has passed because once she gets eaten by a yonkai, if you don't have any spiritual power, then you just cease to exist. So now they're trying to save her, right? And the monster, the lady in red, after having a whole battle, and I think the battle and the Okarun running, and that was cool. The animation was great. It was fun. It was choreographed, amazing. But the heart of the story, the heart of the episode is the flashback. It's the montage. That's what everyone was talking about. That's what everyone was saying you got to get ready for. And this was the emotional high point of the episode. But it was done, it had flaws. And those flaws ultimately kept me from connecting with the characters, or specifically the lady in red, enough to care at the end. And again, let me say this will contain spoilers. It is a breakdown of episode 7, so if you were not expecting spoilers, definitely make a note in the beginning, but this will contain spoilers. So we get to the montage, the heart of it, and it turns out that this lady in red, she was a dancer, and she had a daughter. We don't know anything about the daughter's father. We don't even know the daughter's name. In fact, the way it was done, I'm not even sure that was her daughter. It could have been a girl that she was raising. It could have been someone like a little sister, but the girl called her mommy. So, but it just got a sense that like she was calling her mommy, but it wasn't really her. But that's pure speculation, and it doesn't really have to do with it. It was just one of another questions. So she's raising this daughter as a single mother, and she's working all the time. She's working all the time. She's working all the time. And there's some deep stuff in at the end of it where you realize she was so prioritized on giving her daughters things that she didn't spend as much time with her as she could. So she's raising the daughter. It's all done with no dialogue aside from the daughter occasionally saying mommy. But you see this woman is working herself ragged. She's beating herself down just to try to provide a good life for her daughter. But it's based on what she's thinking, because she was a dancer and she's an amazing dancer. And her daughter wants to dance, and her daughter looks like she's happy to dance. And it's all signified in this dress that she sees, which she's ultimately wearing when she becomes a monster. And this dress is something that she wanted to do for her daughter. But in reality, she could have forgot the dress and just spent more time with her daughter. Now, I get that point. That's a strong point. That's a good point. But where it gets weird is then these guys come in to take her daughter away. We have no idea why. We have no idea what happens to the daughter. We have no idea what is going on. And so in the midst of building up this emotional moment, this emotional flashback, we're like stuck with these questions. At least I was. It jarred me out of the moment. I'm like, who are these people? And then it shows, it ties back to the beginning of the episode where she's chasing the car, and we're like, oh, it was her chasing the car. Cool. She never catches the guys. She never catches the guys, and they go away, and we never hear about her daughter again. Now, I'm thinking, okay, this is Arya. Arya was the daughter. She really was the daughter. Nope. Fast forward. So, and during the scuffle, she like hits some glass, like from photos, like photos on the wall and stuff. And she cuts herself up a little bit. And then I couldn't tell. It looks like she cut her eye, but you can't really tell. And then she's bruised up. She's beat up, but she's just walking aimlessly. And then Arya, as a daughter who apparently lost her mother, mistakes this lady for her mother. So she calls her mother. And we don't know how much time has passed because the lady has lost it. She's lost her mind. And she's like, her hair is all crazy looking like the lady from The Ring. And once Arya says that, she latches onto Arya. She's going to live for Arya. She's going to protect Arya. And so that was the connection. And it's just like, what? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's two things that are sad, but not really connected. We don't know and it doesn't even show, like the lady's hair starts growing. Did she just give up on life? Was she like cut so badly? Like, we don't understand. We don't really see her mutation. It just happens kind of in an instance. And then the lady kind of regains herself after like connecting with Arya, and this flashback happens. I don't know if like the memory is through her, Arya, and Momo. They all experience it, but I'm just left with like, well, what happened there? There's so much that I don't understand that happened, that it severed all bonds that were being connected for me, and the empathy that I was building towards her. Was the animation done beautifully? Yes. There's a scene where she's dancing over music, over water, and it's gorgeous. But it's like, I don't understand. Like, what are they trying to say? She was forcing her dream on her daughter, and her dream was the most important thing to her? It's a lot of nice things, but I didn't think that they had anything to do with each other, really. Especially the connection of Arya mistaking her for her mother, which they look nothing alike. You know what I mean? Like, nothing alike. And so I was a little bit confused. I thought that overall the episode was more along the lines of a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10, because it still was good. It still was animated gorgeously. They had amazing music. I mean, the scenes with the music against the animation was wonderful. I loved it. But at the end of the day, it didn't hit the same as some of the other things I've seen in anime, because I was left with so many questions. So many things didn't add up or make sense. It was just, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel sad about. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like her daughter was just kidnapped. There was some connection. There was something about her daughter that happened. So am I supposed to feel sad about Arya and her mother? Well, okay, that's sad. You know what I mean? It's sad that her mother passed away when she was just a child. But together, what does it have to do with anything? You know what I mean? Like, so I just ended up feeling like these were sad things thrown in together, like a dish when someone's cooking and they don't understand fully how the ingredients are supposed to work together. You know what I mean? The difference between someone who's a master chef and somebody who's just a hobbyist. This wasn't the work of a master chef. There's been brilliant things, like the reveal of Okarun's real name. That was masterfully done. There's been lots of masterful moments in Dandadan, but this episode just wasn't. It wasn't that. And it's like, I don't know why people wanted it to be this thing, but in my opinion, it just was not in any way this masterful moment. It was done beautifully. It was great. But I think if you want to contrast it to something, even without being a One Piece fan, the One Piece open or fan letter, that was a masterpiece. That was a work of art. It was brilliant. It was conceptual. Everything was tied in together and it made sense. This, and I'm mostly speaking towards the montage or the flashback part of this episode, because that's where the heart was. That's where the heart of the whole thing. And that was where we were supposed to arrive at the moment when the woman, or when Arya hugs her at the end and says, "I won't forget you." That should have been a hard hitting moment. But I ultimately don't know why I was supposed to feel sorry for her, or because I don't know what happened. I don't know the full story. You know what I mean? It wasn't like she had a horrible life. Her daughter loved her the whole time. And I just don't understand why she got taken away. So I'm so fixated on that little thing that they could have easily solved. I mean, there's so many ways that they could have made this an absolute tearjerker and a masterpiece. And I'm not saying that it wasn't sad. So if you felt sad, I get it. But for the level of hype it was getting, for the level of hype it is getting, I don't think it's that. But those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video on Dandadan and my reaction to episode 7, let me know and I'll make sure to make more. Until the next time, be sure to follow and stay casual.